The Premier of the Western Cape, Alan Winde, joining us on the line now. Alan, a very good morning to you. You hopped on a helicopter yesterday to survey as much of the Western Cape as your fuel could allow you, I suppose. What did you see?
Yeah, the fuel in the cloud cover, I suppose, with another front coming through. But yeah, absolute devastation. So often we measure these crises, whether it be fires or floods, whatever they are, we measure them in rand value. Of course, you started off with 11 people have lost their lives. So that is absolutely devastating. I don't think we've had a disaster where so many people have lost their lives in a disaster in this province. So that's really tough. But when you get out there and you have a look at the devastation, it really has a huge impact on me. It was it's just unbelievable to see, what water can do. And, I think the most impactful was flying over a devastated vineyard where there was the odd pole here and there, but you could just see the water just taking everything away with it. But in the middle of this vineyard was a mattress, a bed, someone's bed, someone, and then you ask yourself, whose bed was this? Where are they? Are they safe? And then you continue flying and you see foundations of where a house used to be and it's gone. That's only the foundation that's left. Or you will just see a bridge that used to be. There'll be a couple of blocks of concrete across the river, but nothing else. Everything else is gone. Or a whole road will be washed away. So yeah, absolute devastation. I think it's going to take a while to rebuild. But at the same time, you fly over we flew over the bridge to McGregor, and over the weekend, the teams did the procurement process. We had a team on site, so they were already busy trying to, repair that bridge. You then feel, well, wow, these teams are out there doing their thing. So the last week it was the disaster management teams and the NSRI and the Mercy helicopters and the citizens who also just jump in and help, the firefighters, the traffic officials, the police, you name them. This week it's Eskom and the roadworks guys, because now it's mopping up and trying to get things going again. And it's going to take a while. We won't know, I think, for the next 2 weeks at least, what the total value is. But it's substantial. I mean, just in the Cape Winelands, there are 22 roads that are not usable at the moment. And we really do try hard. I mean, I don't know if you saw the pictures of the Mitchell's Pass. Tons and tons and tons of rock and gravel that washed across that pass with trucks caught in the middle of it. And it's already open. So, wow, my hat's off to the teams, but jeepers, it's huge devastation.
Absolutely. Are there areas that concern you more than others, Alan? The Agriculture Minister, John Steenhuisen, indicating that, for example, farmers who would have been harvesting apples absolutely in desperate need of cold storage at the moment, and we need to get that electricity working in that area again of the Western Cape if you are going to salvage as much of that produce as possible.
Correct, and there it's just not a power line that's had a tree falling over it like so many others. Here, all the pylons are crumpled. It's you take that big metal construction of a pylon and you just fold it over and lie it on the ground. That's what it looks like. So that is a major issue to get power back into series. So in the disaster management meeting yesterday, we were talking about what was needed, how do we work with Eskom to help them get that back up and running. If you think about the last time that kind of magnitude of power failure happened, it was in the Karoo with those 7 pylons that went down. And we put our teams to work with those Eskom teams to get those temporary poles in. And so our teams are also out there helping them get that power line up and running. I'd like to say it's going to be done by tomorrow, but it's going to take a bit longer than that. It is a major issue. So are we able to truck in some big generators in the meantime? Those are the questions that we were asking ourselves yesterday. And it's there, electricity there, it's a big issue. It's also a big issue in the Overberg. So there are a couple of places. And what concerns me most? Well, the big problem here is it's this devastation. It's in the Weskus, it's in the Garden Route, it's in the Karoo, it's in the Winelands, in the city itself. So, wow, it has been the whole province that has been hit, and we've got teams out everywhere, and we've got to get people to be able to get their livelihoods and get back to normal as much as possible, as quickly as possible. Also, bearing in mind there's about 150,000 people across the province who haven't got their own bed to sleep in. Because they've been so disrupted through this devastating weather front, or two of them, and now the third one's here with us, although it seems much lighter than the last two.
No, thankfully. What about public buildings? We know that we had to close down schools, particularly on Tuesday last week, and I imagine clinics and hospitals have been affected. How many are still closed as a result of the damage last week?
So we've got 104 schools damaged, 11 schools closed still as of yesterday. It seems like the healthcare spaces are primarily operational. Some of those issues are being dealt with, but we're getting to see the clients as well. 11 schools are still in trouble. They can't. They'll have access problems, or it's unsafe. We're trying to get those sorted as quickly as possible as well.
Are you reaching out to national government to release more funds to provincial government in order for you to help with the mopping up and the rebuilding?
So the funding generally takes a lot longer. We use our own money to start with, but I have invited Minister Schlapisa to see if it's possible. I know he's doing his budget speech tomorrow, but if it's possible for him to pop in at the cabinet meeting tomorrow, because we can give him an update. Although on Sunday night there was a national meeting where our teams were all in that meeting, putting forward the extent of the damage in this province. And of course, it's not only this province, because it's across other provinces. We also know that it's very hard to get the right amount or the fair share, but we're pushing very hard to get whatever we can. And we will need a second disaster declared, because the first one that was declared was for the first storm. And of course, then the second storm came on the back of it, which is even worse. And that hasn't been declared, so we're busy working to get that declared as well.
Weather services, are they forecasting any more storms coming this winter from what they know, or is it too early to tell?
I don't know. A month ago, we were all sitting in the disaster management center going, it's going to be a much drier winter, and where we're going to put water restrictions in place to avoid day zero in another year or so's time. And now I look at the list of dams across the province, and they're all at 100%. We grew by over 20% in the last week in our dam level. So it is very difficult. And I think that is the sign of the times that we live in. It is very hard to plan. It is very hard to predict. So while we think there's a drought and no rain expected over this winter, and suddenly we've had exactly the opposite, that is the dilemma that we face. And that dilemma costs more money. So, for example, every year we've seemed to, we've had the last 3 years, 1 in 50-year floods. We've had 3 of them in 3 years. That cannot be. So it is a very different environment. And we try to build differently. For example, the bridge across to Citrusdal, that washed away twice in the last 2 years. So when we built it back now, we built it with extra culverts, a whole new design, create an eddy system with the water as it comes through, so it slows down. And of course, that mitigated that risk. A few years ago, we opened the new bridge in Ashton. Same thing. These things become much more expensive, but that's what we're going to have to do. We are busy building back the bridge to McGregor, and I was watching that from the air yesterday and thinking to myself, we are desperate to get this bridge open because we've got agricultural product to get to market, we've got an economy to drive. But quite frankly, we should be spending much more money on this bridge and building a different bridge. but we don't sometimes have the time to do it. But where we can, we've got to make sure, and the money, of course, that's a big thing. We've got to try and draw down money. We've got to try and build and design things differently because it is very unpredictable.
We'll leave it there, Alan. Thank you very much. A lot of work for you and your team. Alan Winde, the Premier of the Western Cape, surveying the province yesterday to try and understand the extent of the damage caused by the devastating weather experienced across the province last week.